Welcome to the England Rugby Pod. Thanks for downloading episode 87. It's the second test in the three-test series against the Springboks, and England have a huge amount to prove. You're listening to the England Rugby Pod, the rugby podcast that believes England will win the World Cup in 2019. Hey guys, welcome back. It's game day, it's test number 2, and all to play for because England, of course, have gone one down in a three-test series, and we need this because we're obviously going to win 2-1. Or at least that is the plan. I'm joined by Dan. This is our little pre-match intro. So Dan, welcome.
Hello, mate. Thank you. I'm really confident about today. I really believe we're going to do this. I think. Do you know what? There's been so much negativity about English rugby recently, and understandably so. I do get it, but I also think it's overhyped. I think we will do this, and I think we might do it fairly comfortably.
I agree. I know that we say this every week, and we'll continue to do so until after the World Cup. But the more I think about last week's game, the more I just think, do you know what? Yeah, we made some horrendous mistakes, but individual errors, just silly things that cost us points. And things that are really easy to kind of not do again. It's not like it's a failure of the quality of players in the team that caused these problems. It was, just silly mistakes. And they should be quite easy to just kind of cut out. And I just feel like, given how close last week's game was, with those included, shutting them down should be enough. Plus, we both agree this team looks slightly better than last week. So I'm confident too. And I think that South Africa, they had credit where it's due, like you said in the last episode, but they had the game of their lives last week. I'm not convinced that they can do that week in, week out. I don't think that is them setting the tone for what South African rugby looks like. Full stop. It was a fantastic performance, but will they do it again today? I'm not convinced, but we'll see.
Yeah. They put in a great performance. It was quite a historic day for South African rugby. It's not necessarily something that we're looking to go into because we are not the right people. But it was nice for them. There were some incredible performances, and yeah, great. I'm with you. I don't think they can perform like that again. I've heard some chat about they're only going to get better. Let's wait and see, shall we? I'm in England corner for this one quite firmly.
If that's true, then fair play. But if they're only going to get better, then they've got to be targeting the top spot. Because that performance last week, that was a top team, a World Cup winning, world class performance.
Did you see Kiwis against France?
Yeah, but don't forget. So actually, I wanted to talk about this. Yeah, the Kiwis won, and it was a convincing scoreline. But France went down a man after 20 minutes, and I think New Zealand missed something like 17 tackles. France actually put up a pretty good performance, put on a pretty good performance against them, all things considered. And I think that the New Zealand defence was questioned. I thought it was interesting, scoreline aside, as I say, that when the red card happened, everyone thought, okay, 60 points to New Zealand. And they barely scored another point after that. They scored another try, I think, but, there wasn't a lot more.
Yeah.
So, we shall see.
I nothing to add. I'd just be repeating you, but I'm with you. Look, the gap. New Zealand are the best in the world, no doubt about that. I love watching them play rugby. They're brilliant rugby. I don't think they're quite as far ahead as everyone makes out.
Well, I certainly think the gap is closing. But, we talked about, people have talked about England, on this sort of they were on this run of form looking like, they were going to be the favourites going into the World Cup. And then obviously they've had a slump. And now everyone's suddenly saying they're not the team we all thought they were. And why is everyone banging on about how good England are? They've been rubbish for six. Well, actually, do you know what? This brings me on to something that I wanted to talk about today. We've spoken about it beforehand. But I want to bring it up. We had a review from someone who calls himself Wade Ackford. I think we both know that's not his real name. So he's hiding behind...
It's a hell of a name if it is.
Hiding behind this name. He gave us 1 star, which is always a bit frustrating because you kind of think,
it just fucks with us, doesn't it?
What's the value? Well, it's not even that. Do you know what's the
Yeah.
value? What is the value to this person of taking the time out of their day to go in and write a 1-star review when all they need to do is hit the unsubscribe button? Anyway, I'm going to read it out. He says, seriously, the most one-eyed analysis of the England team I've ever heard from these 2 clowns. And I am a huge, he says, I am a huge England fan. I'm assuming he means I am a huge England fan. We lost to the Barbars, something a test team should never do, as they have been in the pub all week. Support England, but don't big up a side that's been underperforming for at least 16 months. Not much rugby knowledge in this pod. Well, I don't really know where to start. I mean, like I said, if you don't like it, don't listen. No one is forcing anyone to listen to this thing. We do this because, guys.
Mate, give him some credit. The comic book store might have been shut, so
Well, exactly. Armchair warrior. The thing is, we've said it before, guys. We do this because we enjoy it. We don't get paid to do this. In fact, we pay to produce this. But that's fine. We enjoy doing it, like I say. And we know that there's loads of you out there that listen week in, week out who enjoy the fact that, as we've said from the very beginning, we're going to be biased throughout. We're not professionals. We're not media pundits. We're not trying to teach anyone about the kind of finer details of rugby. We're not trying to analyse the games in a professional manner. If you want that, there's plenty of places you can go for it. So if you like, I think the simple point is, if you like what we're doing, listen, great. We love having you on board. If you don't like it, unsubscribe and stop listening. Don't mug us off by going on and giving us a 1-star review and talk about how wrong we are.
Yeah. Do you know what? Well, this is the thing that pissed me off, because we've had actually quite a lot of engagement recently from people, and people have said, we think you're wrong, but have just done it in a good way. Sort of said, we like, this is my thoughts and things. And that's awesome. That's really cool. And we really enjoy that engagement. Now, I'm going to play amateur psychiatrist here. Wade Ackford, I'm pretty sure we all know what position you play. I'm guessing you think you're a bit of a legend amongst your local club's 415. I'm also guessing you like people to call you something like Big Dog or Big Cheese. Mate, come on. Look, if it was the first time listening, you probably don't know what we're all about. But connect the dots, yeah? Come on, mate. Do less shit. If you're about one time, happily go for a beer with you, have a chat, and we genuinely value everyone's opinion. But just be less of a dick.
You can go with a beer.
Oh, mate, no, we're going. He's buying the beer, and we'll just go and sit somewhere else.
I'm going to respond a little bit to what he said. So first of all, he says, we lost to the Barbars, something a test team should never do. It's not a test team.
Yeah.
First and foremost, it's not a test team. It's not a test match. So actually, teams often lose to the Barbars if the Barbars are putting out a particularly strong side, and that's what happened. We still scored almost 50 points, as did that. It's a ridiculous comment. Underperforming for the last 16 months. What planet's he on? 16 months ago, England were in the middle of a world record win streak. So I don't know what game he's been watching. I mean, you're saying that he's clearly a second row who likes to be called Big Dog. I'm not convinced he's ever actually played the game. I'm pretty sure he's the sort of guy that sits at home in his armchair watching the game. If this isn't on, he'll watch whatever else is on the sports channel. So he's got something to talk about when he's down the pub. Yeah,
he definitely wears a tweed jacket.
Likes to pretend to his friends that he's into sport, but has never actually played a game in his life. Anyway.
I'm really sporty, and obviously I play rugby because I'm fat. All right.
Well, okay. But I'm sure before we started this, you said, let's not get personal.
I'm such a little bitch, aren't I? And do you know what? Actually, let's not get personal, because could be a really nice guy, could be a great rugby player, could be very knowledgeable. And if you are, mate, good for you. We don't pretend we are.
Yeah,
we are trying to give our opinion. If you cannot figure that out by the pod, maybe give technology a break for a while. Maybe go back to the abacus or something. Just learn that.
I think the key thing here, guys, is, and the point I'm trying to make is, we don't have a huge number of listeners. There's probably 500 or 600 of you out there, which is great. We love that.
Well, it's 500 or 600 per episode, yeah, which is great.
Which is great, and we love that. And there will always be people that don't like what we're doing, and that's fine. And they typically stop listening, and that's fine too. We don't want to do this for people that don't want to listen to it. If you do like it, And if you are one of our listeners who tunes in every week, please head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and tell people why you do like it, because that's valuable to us. Unless you think we've done something really incomprehensible that people need to know, don't listen to these guys because of X, Y, and Z. Is there any value to a 1-star review? Other than maybe the producers of another rugby podcast and you're doing it because you think you're doing them a favour. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't think we're massive competition, to be honest.
Well, we're not at all. But that doesn't mean that Wade Ackford doesn't think, hey, I'm going to go and impress the guys over at, I don't know, Egg Chasers or something. They don't care. They're not worried about us.
Yeah, no, it's different me. But look, it's like we say, we really enjoy the feedback. We genuinely do. And there's plenty of feedback where people are like, no, we disagree, we're wrong. And that's great. That's cool. But it's just done in less of a, just done in a nicer way, which, do you know what? That's what we want. We want you to challenge us. We want you to say, guys, I think you're wrong there. But, I don't know if it's his first day as a human being or what, but it did piss us both off, actually, didn't it? I don't know why that one specifically. We don't get many bad reviews, in fairness, but it just really pissed us off. I think
it just seems a bit unnecessary.
It's saying we're claiming to be exactly what we're not claiming to be.
Yeah, well, exactly, and it's unnecessary, and we're doing this because we enjoy it, and people want to listen. Great. But anyway, the point is, if you disagree with Wade Ackford, guys, please get on there and let people know why you do like listening, because that's really valuable to us. Anyway, rant, I think, probably over. There's more important things to worry about.
Can we just say, guys, like 99% of you are absolutely awesome, and we really love the fact that we can share our take on things with you. Like, genuinely, it's something. This is something we're actually really proud of. Not because we're groundbreaking or anything, but just because we can engage more, and we're talking about something we all love.
Yeah.
God, that was a bit cheesy. Yeah. But yeah, sorry. Let's go.
Let's move on. Let's draw a line in the sand. Say probably goodbye to Wade. I imagine, based on his review, that he won't be listening now because he will have unsubscribed. But who knows? Yeah, you're right. Of course, he's listening. We'll be hearing from him next week, no doubt. But guys, today is a big day. Obviously, we've got the. Actually, do you know what? Though? Just before that, we had a tweet from a regular listener, regular Twitter engager as well, Michael Cronican, who's actually a Kiwi. And so I owe him an apology because he says he was listening to our last pod and he had to stop and tweet us when he heard my comment, which was that New Zealand is pretty much made up of non-New Zealanders.
Yeah, that was a bit
which he then goes on to say, they've got one out of their 23 this week who was born outside New Zealand. So he knows that it's a perception thing, but it's just plain wrong. And yeah, you're right. Hands up. Apologies. I have tweeted you back.
It's hard to argue with someone when they give you
my point actually wasn't a complaint about
mate. What are you doing? Why are you trying to dig a hole more?
I wasn't trying to complain about what I was implying that New Zealand were doing. I was actually just trying to highlight that Brad Shields has every right to play for England, and we should all be behind him given that that's the choice he's made. Anyway, Michael, you're right. Thanks for calling us out on it. And as you see, guys, get in touch. Huh?
What do you mean us? That was your.
No. We are one.
Oh, you win as one and we lose together. I like it.
Exactly. But thanks for getting in touch. Thanks for regularly listening, despite being a Kiwi. That's always quite nice too. And hopefully keep listening, and hopefully our apology will be accepted. My apology will be accepted. Anyway, so on to today. We said at the beginning, big game, really important for England. This. I know there's been a lot of chat saying, if they lose this, it's game over, and all, but it's not. But it is important.
Okay,
a win is pretty important.
Sorry, mate. Sorry to interrupt. I've got a question for you. Who needs big performances today? From England,
individuals.
Yeah, individuals.
Like they all do. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, who? Okay, sorry. Yeah,
the big guns. Yeah. But we need a big performance from
yeah.
Mako. We need a big performance from Jamie George. I thought he was a little bit lacking last week. Well, not so much lacking, but he found himself on the wrong side of the ball a lot. He gave away penalties. We need massive performance from Maro. He needs to make up for what seems to be just a slightly slow start to this England campaign, following an awesome run with Saracens, which was preceded by a fairly average run with England again. So we need to see him doing what he does in an England shirt. So he needs a massive performance.
We've given Maro, like we've mentioned Maro quite a lot. The reason we mention him is because we know how unbelievably awesome the guy is. We love Maro Itoje. So that's why if it comes across that we're like, oh, Maro does, it's just because we know how good that guy can be.
Yeah,
and we just want to see it.
Like all these guys, back row, we need a massive performance from. I think we need a big performance from Tom Curry. I thought again, against the lesser sides, he's looked really good, and we've been really excited about him. And then, last week he seemed a bit quiet. So I want to see more from him. In the backs, I think Ben Youngs has got to do more. He needs to take control of the ball more. Pretty happy with 10 with George Ford at 10. And obviously Owen Farrell's always firing. So, yes, we want a big performance from him, but I think we're going to get that anyway. I think Elliot Daly at the back, if this is going to be a thing, then we need to see it. He needs to show today that that's his position.
I'm really backing him as a fullback. I'd love to see, and I've been quite vocal about this with, be it on the pod, be it, with other mates and things. Elliot, please, man, please be big.
Yeah, and I think as well, I really like everyone took the piss when Eddie Jones started talking about finishers rather than subs. But I really liked it. And particularly when it started, it wasn't just that it sort of, he was sort of justified in it by performances, but you genuinely started to look at the 23 and you started to look at the benefits of the guys that were going to come off the bench, as part of the team that was going to win the game. And I feel like in the last few outings for England, it's felt a little bit less like they were finishers and a little bit more like they were subs. And I want to see more from the bench in terms of the impact that they have and in turning the game. Maybe that's unfair because England obviously did have a great finish to last week's game, but I don't know. That's just the way it's kind of felt to me. So,
mate, I actually completely agree with that. And I mean, realistically, the 23 was being looked at long before Eddie Jones. But I believe Eddie Jones is the one who coined it the best, sort of really put the focus on that 23.
But I think also giving pride to the guys that start on the bench in a way that maybe they didn't have before, because it was actually, and whether that's just semantics or not, it's kind of irrelevant, because I think that there are guys now who will start on the bench. Danny Kerr, when he starts on the bench, I don't think he feels like he's number 2. I just think he feels like I'm the guy that they know can come on and do a job in that last 20 and turn a game.
And I think that was such a big thing, because when we were winning, the finishers came on, and every time they made such a positive impact.
Yeah,
that seems to have lessened, like you say, over the last however long, I know, 3-4 months.
Well, that's it.
That does seem to have lessened, so we want that back.
They seem to come on and just kind of maintain things the way they are, and we want to see a change in tempo. I think tempo is the biggest thing. I want to see the bench come on and just see the pace of the game lift. And I think the scrum halves are key. Is key to that. We're definitely missing Danny Kerr.
Yeah, we're missing Danny Kerr. I think we're missing Dan Robson as well. I think Dan Robson's a brilliant player. I'd like to see him get a chance. I'm not going to rule out Ben Spencer yet. I don't know enough about him. Again, we got that a bit wrong because he'd actually played a lot of minutes since top try scorer. So clearly he can make a difference.
Yeah, well, I think that's the key, isn't it? Let's see him actually do it.
And Sir DC, Mr. Daniel Cipriani.
DC Sips. Yeah, well, definitely. I hope he's given time to come on and make a difference. If it's needed, the most important thing here is that we get the win. The second most important thing is that it's a good performance. If things are going well, I don't know if there's change for change's sake. Maybe we'll see what happens. But yeah, when he presumably comes on, I want to see a big game from him as well, because the trouble is he's going to be under a lot of pressure to prove himself, and if he's the less time he gets given to do that, the more chance there is that he tries too hard and makes mistakes, as we've seen from people in the past. And I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope he gets out there and just does a job and does it well, makes an impact, and kind of just sends a message that says, look, I should be included in this setup on a regular basis, not just as a one-off tour. I think generally speaking, the guys, Brad Shields is another one. We want to see a big performance from him. But the guys, as a team, I think they all need to step up their game. Get rid of those individual errors, the silly mistakes, and it's a different scoreline last week anyway. But I think just then stepping it up a gear each, and we could see a very different side. And that first 20 minutes last week, some of the best we've seen in...
Mate, that was such quality, wasn't it?
So more of that for longer, please. 80 minutes of that would be lovely. Guys, so enjoy the game. Enjoy the first half, at least. We'll be back to talk about that in what will seem like just a moment. So we will leave you now, as always, with the anthems. We'll catch you shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. Right, first half is done. Dan, what thoughts on the first half?
Do you know what? There's parts that are good. The defence looks a bit better. I think it's a bit solid. There's some people, Mike Brown's having another good game. But I think our backs actually look quite good. Henry Slade might be a little bit quieter than I'd hoped.
Yeah, we said it last week. We said he was a little quiet last week, and I said, I think he's fortunate to be given another shot. I definitely think we're missing that power player in the middle.
The go forward ball, yeah.
And as seen by the fact that a few times now we've tried to use Henry Slade as a battering ram, and that's just not going to work.
He's no Manu.
No. So I think England are definitely lacking that, but those first couple of tries, they felt so comfortable. They felt good. They felt very good.
They
felt simple. Like, okay, England were under the cosh a lot, under a lot of pressure, and then they'd get into an attacking position, and it just felt like it was well managed, and the tries were just the obvious, kind of culmination of putting together some nice play. Obviously, Mike Brown for that second try with the little cheeky little offload was brilliant, and enabled that to happen.
I was going to say, I'm going to challenge you a bit on that. I think very few wingers in the world would have finished that try. I think Johnny May, because of his pace, he is quite powerful as well. So I think
he got away. Yeah, maybe he just made it look that simple, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the big talking points in the first half. So we said beforehand, the biggest take from last week was discipline, and
mate, exactly what
I don't think they've improved. They've improved.
It's terrible.
But
mate.
What the fuck was Mako doing? I'm sorry. I don't want to, because I think from a quality scrummager point of view, he's the right person for the job. But he needs to be dropped on principle.
Mate, I agree.
Send a message to the team saying, look, if you can't sort your head out enough to go, actually, with all these cameras on you, don't slap the guy's head in full view of everybody, you idiot.
It's such a... I really like Mako. I don't know what's going on in
and
this.
And he should have been carded. If it had been the other way round, we'd have been screaming for a yellow card.
I'm not sure. I don't think that's a card. And I hope I'd say the same the other way round. It's not a hit. It's a push. It's a get out of the way, you're annoying me push. It's pathetic. It's childish.
It is pathetic and childish, but I think that's kind of the point. It's almost a professional foul, and it's not even that. I think if the guy's pinned down and the ball's nowhere near him, and for no reason other than the fact that you can do it without any retaliation, and you slap him on the head, I think, do you know what?
Yeah.
Letter of the law, contact with the head, off you go.
mate, mate, off. I think we're too
Not red,
so,
not red. I'm saying yellow card. But anyway,
yeah,
the ref's probably right.
I do slightly disagree with that. I don't, because there was it wasn't a cheap shot slap. It was a push on the head. There was never going to be any.
Maybe it's more about teaching him a lesson.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But anyway,
you know what?
He didn't get binned, but he needs to just sort it out. I know you missed the last few minutes, so you will have also missed the fact that Billy's off injured.
Oh, you're fucking kidding! What happened?
It doesn't look like it's necessarily going to be a very serious one, but I suspect it's somewhere in the shoulder region, just because something happened. We haven't seen it yet. I'm sure they're talking about it now at the halftime break. But shortly afterwards, you saw him go to make a tackle, and it was just a really kind of limp tackle. Like he clearly wasn't able to do it, and he walked off fine and he sat down fine, but. He wasn't stretched off or anything like that. But yeah, Nathan Hughes is now on replacing him. So I suspect there's something, maybe a niggle. Maybe it's a bit of a niggle, and he's just like, do you know what? I don't want to risk it. Let's just take the rest of the game off. I don't know. We'll find out more.
Does KFC close earlier on Saturday?
Or maybe in South Africa it's open at different times.
It could be.
Don't mark Billy off, the mighty Billy V.
No, I love the Billy. I love Mako as well, but I am pissed off about.
I've always thought of Mako as the sensible one of the two. The older brother who's a bit more kind of head in the game, and he's showing that not to be the case. There was a brilliant clip actually I was watching in the build up to the game today. There's a brilliant clip of last week when Mako got binned. And you see Billy slap him on the head, and you can clearly see him say "prick" as he does it. I thought brilliant.
Mate, good.
Yeah, absolutely. But Mako's meant to be one of the senior guys in that team. You've got to lead by example, and stupid mistakes like that are just unacceptable. So I don't know what they do. I don't know how they drill that in.
They have to do this because it has got ridiculous.
Yeah.
We start even from the Wales game that we won when I think they gave away 2 penalties compared to whatever we gave away. And last week, 2 many. I think Clive Woodward says, and I completely agree, it's 10 or under. 17 last week.
Well, we're at 7 or 8 already.
Yeah, 10's going to be a bit high. But we will definitely give away more. And they're so avoidable.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's frustrating. But that said, looking at it in terms of the scoreline, in terms of the way that England are playing, certainly in attack, we're looking strong. George Ford's doing really well with the boot. He's putting them under a lot of pressure, which there's been some quite interesting kind of attacking kicks. But we say this week in, week out. You, in particular, are a massive advocate for take your points when they're on offer. And yeah, and Owen Farrell, you would think is the kind of guy that would be, would do that. But he rushed towards the end of that half. He rushed to kick for the corner instead of taking the points, and England got pinged for something. I'm not sure what it was. And points went begging, and you're thinking that would have been 15-10. Instead, back down the other end, South Africa get a penalty and edge ahead, 13-12 going into the half. Massive psychological advantage. They go into the half having won it.
Yeah, it's so this was annoying because I actually thought Owen Farrell was doing a good job as captain. There were a few times I saw him step up and say, I remember once he said, the non-captain came and asked for you to card it. That's wrong. I thought he was controlling the captaincy quite well. That's a poor decision. There's no two ways about it. You 100% take the points there. I didn't see it. So was it very kickable?
It wasn't in the middle of the park. It was over to the side, but it's Owen Farrell, and if for some reason he wasn't feeling it, maybe it was on the right hand side, and he's obviously a right footer, so it's the tougher side.
Yeah.
So maybe that played into it, but it wasn't like it was. It wasn't miles out or anything. So I would say under normal circumstances it was a kickable kick. I think if they needed the points. If it was the last few minutes of the actual game, of course they'd have taken points. So I don't know. It's always one of those ones, isn't it, where you get it right and you're a hero, you made the right call, get it wrong and everyone's complaining, which is why we tend to say take your points, because you can never be accused of getting it wrong unless it's the dying minutes and you're 7 points behind.
Yeah, you're 4 points down or whatever.
So yeah, a bit frustrating, but it is what it is. But I'm not.
Yeah.
I haven't lost. I'm not. I haven't lost confidence. I still think England have got this. I know that England have that last 20 minutes. That's England. Yeah, they'll do what they did last time. They'll have a good last 20 minutes. There's a point in it right now.
I agree.
South Africa 100% not looking. I mean, it's kind of weird. So South Africa have started to play more of an English style of rugby. They're kind of fronting up through the middle. Powerful pack and putting a lot of pressure on us in that area, but slowed right down compared to last week, which we kind of said was going to happen. We said they didn't have that in them again. But England, they just need to deal with that, and I think they are dealing with it. Get rid of the silly mistakes. They've gifted. The South African try was a gift. I mean, I don't get how 4 people miss.
Mate, the tackling there was very poor, including Marrow.
Well, that's what I mean. Marrow and Billy was out of position, but Marrow, should never miss a tackle like that. Doesn't matter how big
and Ben Young's pushed out of the tackle as well. But
yeah, I mean Ben Young's you can half forgive because he's Ben Young's and he's a tiny little scrum half. But Marrow, why are you even putting that on him?
So South Africa aren't winning this game. England at the moment are losing it,
yes.
Not badly, but there's things they can change for that. One thing I want to say, actually, there's quite a few things to say, but we don't really have time, but we can chat afterwards about them. Watch the difference between Faf de Klerk and Ben Youngs, just the speed of delivery from a breakdown. Faf de Klerk is there, whips it out. Ben Youngs just takes that bit longer, and I actually think that is holding us back a little bit.
Oh, without doubt, because when we're getting quick ball, we've seen what we can do with it. I mean, this is where it would be an incredibly interesting situation to bring on a Danny Care to massively speed it up when South Africa become comfortable with a slightly slower Ben Youngs, because I think that would throw them a bit, and I don't know whether we're going to see that, but as we said, we don't know enough about them, but it remains to be seen. But yeah, England definitely not out of it. I still feel pretty confident. They just need to tighten things up a little bit. And then keep doing what they're doing, and just get rid of the silly errors and the discipline. Just gotta tighten that up.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, mate, let's go because I got to walk back.
Great, guys. Catch you in just a moment, but at the end of the game when hopefully we're celebrating an English win and a 1-1 in the series. Speak to you shortly. Hey guys, welcome back. Oh dear, Dan.
Mate, your voice says it all. It's not right. We need to. That England team, we keep saying they're good enough to do it, and they are, but it's not happened, and it's not happening, mate. We didn't score 1 point in the second half.
Oh, we didn't score 1 point after 13 minutes.
Touché. Mate, we are making such poor decisions as a team, as individuals.
Poor decisions, but I think again the discipline and just the error count. It was just terrible. Like just stupid decisions. You're right. So on the one hand you've got the stupid stuff, the Mako slapping Faf de Klerk on the head, the Nathan Hughes at the end reaching out for the ball. And it's the sort of stuff that you do when you're playing rugby for the first time. You weren't aware of the rules. You're like, oh, can I not do that? It's not the sort of thing you do when you're wearing an England shirt. But then also, and I don't like to complain too much about him because he is awesome. But Owen Farrell, you're the captain of this side. You're the kicker. Why on earth are you not taking points? I think Woodward said it.
We left a lot of points out there.
Well, 8 points behind, and he's turning down points.
Yeah, I got a bit angry with that. It is a sort of, I don't know the mentality. I think what summed it up best, and again, I'm not going to have a game because it must be really tough. But Ben Young's interview at the end, did you see it where he just walked off?
Yeah, I understand he did apologise later, but.
Oh, no, fair enough. And I'm sure he did. And Ben Youngs, do you know what? I think the guy's a legend. I think he's an awesome guy. But just that sort of immediate reaction to, No, I'm not listening to you. It is, like we said, it's childish. It's not how England should be, how England are capable of being. We've got such awesome talent,
Yeah,
and we're making such schoolboy errors.
well,
in the way,
yeah.
in the way of everything.
I mean, you said it. You said it at the end of the first half. You know, England were losing the game. South Africa weren't winning it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was the same at the end. You know, South Africa played well, but compared to last week, they only played well. And England are perfectly capable of dealing with playing well. You know, England were awful. Right, yeah. England were awful, and they gifted that result to South Africa. And that's not to take anything away. You know, credit where it's due. They won the series, and rightly so. They deserved to have won the series. But you know, you can't make it that easy. So for me, a lot of change is needed, and not partly to send a message. I mean, my worry is you make a whole load of changes for next week's game, and the players that you drop are going to going, yeah, but that's because it doesn't matter. Like we'd be picked if it was an important game. Well, it is an important game because
it's massively important.
Well, these guys now owe something to their fans. You know, it's the guys that watch them, the guys and girls that that watch them and that support them, that want to see them do well, who are being let down. You know, as well as themselves. But the problem is you say that they're letting themselves down, but it's like you've been doing this for a while now, making stupid mistakes. You know, at what point do you stop just saying, we take ownership for it, and actually do something about it? You know, it was a disgrace, frankly.
Yeah, mate. So I think this game next week is a lot more important than we're stating. I think it's huge. So the Six Nations was a losing Six Nations, lost the last 6 games. So they left camp having lost 3 games in a row. If they leave this camp having no wins, that is a really bad place. That's a really tough place to be.
Well, and because the next time they get together, it's for the autumn internationals.
Yeah. So
one year out from the World Cup and with New Zealand in front of you.
Yeah. And it's... I'm worried. I am worried now. I still think... I still know we've got the ability. I know we've got good enough people to make it happen, but you've got to look at Eddie Jones. He doesn't seem to... He almost seems to sort of be, right, no, if they tell me to do that, I'm not doing it. It's like, Eddie, come on, man. Like, make us win. You know you can.
Is it Eddie Jones, though? I mean, the thing is,
he's got to.
But the thing is, it's easy to say that. We always seem to do this. We say, oh, you know, coach, change the coach, or the coach has to change something. But England aren't just playing bad rugby. That's not the problem. The part of their game when they're actually playing rugby is pretty good. It's the part of their game when they're not playing rugby. It's their part of the game when they're switched off, where they don't seem to care, where they're making stupid mistakes, where they're making handling errors. And you know, Mike Brown had a great game, but then twice he failed to take a high ball, which he's supposed to be brilliant at. You know, you've got forwards making breaks and fumbling the ball forwards. You've got Ben Youngs making a little darting break, which we've been calling for a while, and then flicking the ball behind him to no one and being immediately intercepted. You know, lose 50 metres down the pitch.
Mate, that's a massively fair point. I
think these guys need to own it.
Doing some, they do, and I know Ben Youngs wrote an article the other day saying, you know, the players are taking responsibility. Well, you're not right now.
You might be putting your hands up and saying, "We know it's our fault."
We were shit.
Yeah, but that's not good enough. Yeah, exactly. You got to do something about it.
I'm a little pissed off. I felt let down by that performance.
Yeah, I agree.
So for me, and this is just in the heat of the moment saying, I would actually next week I would drop Mako, I would drop Marrow.
Well, hang on. When you say drop,
I would bring in
the thing to remember, obviously, is that they've
I
got
put them on the bench. I put them on the bench.
So I would swap the front row out. I'd reverse the front row. I'd have the finishers start and the starters finish, and not as a sort of a weird sort of, just mix it up and give them a chance, but because I think the finishers possibly are better right now.
Yeah, I think so. Maro Tode did not have a good game today. He made some silly mistakes, and we know how good he is.
He doesn't seem to care, though. That's what pisses me off, watching him play at the moment. He doesn't seem to be that bothered about it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is weird. And I'd bring Danny Cipriani in. He looked to me.
Yeah,
He
no,
just
100%.
looked. I know it was only a tiny amount of time, but he just had a bit of spark that no one else had.
I'd probably drop Ben Youngs actually, and have the other two start and finish for next weekend.
Yeah.
Just to see if we can inject something different.
Game.
Ford obviously goes and not on the bench either. I don't think there's any need for a backup fly half.
I don't think Ford had a bad game, but
I don't
am
think he did
with
either.
you.
But I think that Woodward said it at the end. Ford is great and we've said it plenty of times before. Ford's great with front foot ball, but you've got to be prepared to not have it. And the trouble is if you can only perform with front foot ball, how often when we were sort of scrambling, was he just in sort of he just seemed lost, and it was either like, oh, the long pass isn't on, oh, I've got to make a break. Whereas Cipriani comes on for 12 minutes or something, he gets in a similar situation and he finds a way to get the ball out. Flicks it over the top, round the back, whatever it might be, finds a way to keep the momentum going, keep things moving along. So I don't think there's any need. My point is, it's not that Ford was bad, but I think that if you're going to bring Cipriani in, you don't need cover because you've obviously still got Owen Farrell in there. I think I'd move Daly to 13. We've not seen it yet. Just to mix things up a little bit. Brown,
Hemislade tried hard, but he didn't have the impact required.
No, twice now he's been tried. I have a feeling that we may not see him again. Because I think twice now he's been tried out, and whilst he hasn't, again, not bad, but just not at this level. Not enough of an impact, unfortunately. Not at 13 anyway.
Which massively surprises me, because when he's playing for Exeter, which still playing against top class players of the Premiership, he can look absolutely sublime. He can look brilliant, like mercurial. But in an England shirt, I don't think he had a bad game. I think he tried hard. He's just he's a bit too much of an all-rounder. He doesn't have that one thing. He's okay in defence. He's okay in attack. Yeah. But he doesn't have the dancing feet of a Jonathan Joseph, the power of a Manu or a Tier. And you need that at international level, at top international level. Yeah. You need something that is a game changer, something that can actually, really make the opposition take note.
So
Henry Street have people double marking him compared to a Manu, for example.
Well, exactly. So I think there's some clear changes there that need to happen. I think we will see them as well. Eddie Jones was clearly pissed off. I don't know if you saw his interview, but she was pretty. I'm
getting a bit bored of him being pissed off, though. It's like, mate, are you pissed? Why are you pissed off with us? We've done nothing.
Oh no! No, it wasn't that. He was pissed off. He was pissed off with, I think, Gail for the question. Was it Gail?
Yeah, but mate, that's her job.
Oh yeah, but asking him things like, are you the right man for the job? What do you expect him to say?
No,
that question was purely there to see how wound up you could get him.
Yeah,
it wasn't
of course.
It wasn't to find anything useful out. It was just to see if, can we get him to flip out, and then that's good media.
Yeah, I do get that, but also that is for media. I am getting a little fed up of Eddie Jones's just constant mood, like the way with Chris James, with Mike Brown, the way he attacked him. It's like, Eddie, some of it is a bit pathetic. Some of it is trying to roll you, but please don't act like that. I don't think it's the right way for the England manager to act. I think he's going to rise above it and just say, look, I think you're asking that question because you're looking for a reaction from me. I completely disagree with you. I won't give it time to say, but rather than just again, it seems a bit childish to me. And
I mean, look, I'm just trying to think. What can we say? Like, part of what we're trying to do here is to look for the positives in the darkness, and particularly following those comments that we got from he who shall no longer be named earlier on. We do need to look for some positives, and I think the thing is that they're still there. That opening 20 minutes again, they looked good. I think they're showing that when they're playing rugby, they're still a quality side, still a quality outfit. It is individual.
It's not good enough.
It's individual errors and it's individual mistakes and just in ill discipline. You cannot give away that volume of penalties, and you sure as shit cannot be giving them away for things like hands in the ruck in front of the referee and stuff like that. It's just there's no place for it in rugby these days with the amount of cameras and things that are on you. You don't see a guy you don't like when you happen to have a knife in your hand and stab him and then go, oh, I shouldn't have done that, because you know not to do it. So
that's a fairly brutal analogy,
well,
but yeah,
it is. But do you know what I mean? Like, there are things that we know not to do, and therefore we don't do them. We don't do them and then think, oh, but it was the heat of the moment. I mean, I know there are some people that do, but it just winds me up that these guys are at the top of their game. They are the consummate professionals in theory, and something as basic as this, which is drilled into you at schoolboy level, is where they're going wrong and why we're on this losing streak.
If that was a school team, they'd be dropped. If that was a school team, Mako, if that would be a nice school team, Mako, assuming you've got the equivalent good as England do with Joe Marler, for example, Mako would be dropped, Nathan Hughes would have been dropped, because it'd be like, no, that's pathetic. And this is at international level. It's really starting to wind me up. The penalty count. I actually didn't see how high the penalty. Do you know how many penalties it was?
I don't. I probably did see it, but the red mist was down. I wasn't paying too much attention. I think at half time it was at 7, and then I think fairly shortly after half time it was at about 12. So
about 78.
I imagine we were pushing the mid to high teens by the end, just the way things were going. But yeah, they need. So yeah. Sorry. So we tried to focus on the positives and we went straight back into the negatives. The positives are there is some great rugby that's being played, and they can do that. They can do more of that if they can resolve these discipline issues. They're capable of resolving these issues. They just need to do it.
They are capable. I must admit, I'm not ready to hit positives yet. Don't get me wrong. Next pod during the week, I'm going to be in a great mindset and positive. But right now, I'm just angry. I don't think that was a fair performance from them. I think they let themselves down. They let the shirt down, and it's not good enough.
Well, there you go. I mean, I agree. I don't think there's probably not much else. There's probably not much else we can say. It's a pretty low point in the England rugby pod, because we absolutely still back England. It's just becoming harder and harder to justify. Yeah. But we'll continue to do it, and if they drop to 20th in the world, we're still going to believe, because that's
we will always believe, brother.
What this is all about. But yeah, something has to. As I tweeted during the game, something has to change. I just, and I'm not a professional coach, so it's not my job to know what that is. So that's where Eddie does need to make some big decisions, because
way to pass on the buck.
Well, yeah, but I think fair enough. I'm not the England coach. I think we're someone tweeted me saying we need to start at the top. You can't have a captain making bad decisions and all this sort of stuff. And I think
I think that's a good point.
Initially, I was quite I was defensive towards Owen Farrell, but then I thought, you know what? I've said from the very start, I don't want Owen Farrell as the England captain. He's a great player. He's the kicker. The way that he plays the game and his concentration and everything else, he needs to focus on what he needs to do and focus on his job as a player. And I think that giving him the captaincy,
he's got a few bits to work on himself.
It's one extra thing too many. He doesn't need it, but it does leave us with that lingering problem of who is.
Mate, at the moment, I want Dylan Hartley playing.
Well, I agree. The way this tour's gone, you definitely feel that he's missing from the setup. But let's for the sake of argument, let's say actually his time is done with England and he's not coming back. And I don't think that is the case, the way that the guys have been playing. But if it is, where do we look outside of Owen Farrell?
Let's have a think about that one, because I've said it all along, actually. No, I've got to be honest, Joe Laundrie. I think Joe Laundrie could be a good captain. I have said that for months. I know he's an outside bet, but
well, no, I don't. Part of me doesn't disagree with you. The problem is we've got this awesome foursome for a reason, and Joe Laundrie right now seems like a great bet. But 6 months from now, when they're heading into the autumn, well, not 6 months, whatever, 3 months when the autumn internationals are upon us, is Joe Laundrie still probably? Well, actually, no, he probably will be. But come next Six Nations, for example, will the inform 2 be some? Will it not include him? You just don't know. I think if he's a stalwart for the team, not stalwart, what's the a regular.
That's right, isn't it? Yeah,
stalwart. Yeah,
mate. But I think he has been. I don't think he's a player whose form drastically changes. Of course, he's get up and down. That's just my initial thought. Yeah. But let's not worry about that too much. Owen Farrell will be captain, and you know what? Actually, Owen Farrell will probably grow into the role. Like I said at the start, he was doing things. I was like, do you know what? I'm liking Owen as a captain. And then he made some poor decisions. He missed a few tackles that he should have at least made more of an impact on.
Yeah, I mean the team, the second half, the guys just they didn't seem to want it. They didn't seem to care. They didn't want to be there. The way that they were after the game as well, you could see they were just fed up, and it's fine. Like I want to see them pissed off when they lose, but I don't want to see them pissed off about losing at half time when they're losing by 1 point. I want to see them come out going, "Hang on, we had a 12-point lead. This isn't on." Turning it round and getting back on it. 23 points or whatever it is South Africa scored today, so I think it was 23, is not a lot of points in a test match these days. If you were told beforehand South Africa are going to score 23, you would think, then I'm backing England to win.
But the thing that at this level, and I think this is the only level where it counts, but at the end, yes, they're pissed off, you're right. But as you said earlier, which I think is the key word, ownership. They owe ownership of their mistakes for fans. They can't act like.
I don't. I'm not referring to. I'm not saying. I'm not saying I like Ben Young's reaction. I'm talking about when the cameras were panning around and you saw the faces of the England players and they all looked very down. Absolutely, that's how you should be. Don't be jumping around, smiling and laughing and stuff when you've just lost a test match. That's fair enough. But don't look like that at half time when you come out onto the pitch to try and rectify a 1 point deficit. Come out fired up and ready to go, and they didn't.
No, they really didn't. At the start, there were times where they'd run over. George Ford was over there, when they just won a penalty, and that's what they need to be all match. As Simon Cowell would say, they need to get that X factor back. Oh dear God. It's gone wrong. It's all gone wrong.
And on that note, I'm going to save everyone from having to listen to any more of this and say, guys, apologies for the result today. But we will be back.
You're taking ownership.
Well, yeah, someone has to. Apologies for the result today. We will be back in the week. We'll have had a bit more time to digest things, and maybe we'll try and dig out some positives from this because that's what we like to do. And of course, we will be back with you next weekend for the final test match in the series, where hopefully England can salvage some pride. I think it's an important one for them. Not just from a pride point of view, but in terms of showing all of us back home and showing themselves that they're still capable, and I believe that they are. But a lot of work to do this week to rectify the problems because they're not small.
To me, the biggest thing is the mental side. I think physically they're all capable. I think mentally England are in the wrong place.
Well, something. Like say, has to change, whatever that may be. Let's hope we see it, and let's hope maybe some fresh legs next week. Give a few guys. You've taken a lot of boys on a 30 days. Taken 30 guys on a 3-week tour. It would be a shame if any of them went home without having been involved in any way. And you've lost the thing now. So you've lost.
There's nothing to lose. I think you owe it to those guys to give them a game. Yeah. If we lose valiantly, playing well with not a great team, I can handle that.
Yeah, exactly.
If we put out the same team, nothing different, and we lose again because of performance, I will be properly pissed off.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, thanks for sticking with us. Hopefully you did stick with us to the end despite the result. You're probably listening to it in the week rather than straight after the game, because I can't think of anything worse right now than having to listen to other people talking about that result. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for continuing to support us. As we said at the beginning with our very mature rant about one of the comments we got. Yeah, we do this because we love it. And hopefully those of you that tune in regularly feel the same way. If you do, please head over to iTunes, rate us, review us. Let's get that score back up so that we're not impacted too much by the low scores. And, spread the word, get more people listening to us as we head towards the World Cup, because we do still believe that England will win the World Cup in 2019. You can get in touch with us. Yeah, you can get in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook at England Rugby Pod. You can email us, englandrugbypod@gmail.com, and we've even got a website, www.englandrugbypod.com. So get in touch and share your thoughts with us, as many of you have been doing on Twitter. And we'll catch you in the week.
Yeah, cheers, guys.